The tank engine, for its size, is the most versatile thing on rails. And the tender engines are responsible for all the passengers and heavy goods that arrive on the island of Sodor. This is NWR Stories. Rebecca in charge. With the summer season in full effect, Sir Topham Hatt brought Rebecca to the island to add a few more muscle to the main line. The Fat Controller trialed her on passenger runs on the main line to see how she would manage on the island. These trials have proven very successful. The passengers can never complain, and she seems to get along with the other engines that run the main line. So with this feedback from the railway, the Fat Controller decided it was time to try Rebecca on other forms of work on the railway. Shortly after reviewing her trials, he came to see Rebecca. Now, Rebecca, I am pleased with your trials. You can pull coaches very well, and you seem to get on well with the passengers. But I think it's time that you learn how to handle the trucks on this island. Now, I know you've pulled goods trains on your days in British Rail, but the trucks here are a bit different, and I hope you can manage, said the Fat Controller. I think I will be able to manage, sir. With proper guidance, of course, said Rebecca. Well, Emily is here to help you, and Edward is nearby just in case you need additional tips. I trust that you will do the right thing in time, said the Fat Controller. Yes, sir, I will, said Rebecca, and the Fat Controller walked away. The Fat Controller does have a point. The trucks will play tricks on you if you don't watch them carefully. They once pushed Oliver into the turntable well and knocked James off the rails on his first day. So, I think with proper guidance, you should be fine. Yes, indeed. Besides, practice does make perfect, said Rebecca. Now, our first job is to go collect a goods train from the docks. That's when we'll do the first lesson of the learning. Well, lead the way. And the two engines soon set off to the docks. Now, Rebecca, I know you might think that pulling trucks may be a bit difficult, but it's not as difficult as you think, said Emily. How so? Replied Rebecca. You'll see. As the two engines talked as they made their way towards the docks. When the engines arrived at the docks, they saw the long line of freight cars, all lined up, ready to go. It's safe to say that Rebecca was somewhat nervous, but she did not want to tell Emily. The two engines backed on to the freight cars and were making the preparations to set off. Peep, peep, I'm ready, said Emily. Peep, peep. I'm ready as well, said Rebecca reluctantly. And soon the two engines set off. Soon the two engines were moving down the line, and Rebecca was doing well for her first time pulling trucks. Throughout the whole journey, Emily was showing Rebecca how to deal with the troublesome trucks. Mostly how to keep them in line, because when trucks are out of line, well, you know what happens. Soon, the two engines reached the bridge. Now this is where the real lesson begins. Alright, Rebecca, said Emily. Now when you go up the hill, you gotta make sure you go at full speed so the trucks won't get you. So the two engines went up the bridge at a fast rate. Ooh, our wheels, whined the cars. And they soon crossed the bridge safely. Well done, Rebecca. You did a good job. Thank you, Emily. And the two engines soon delivered their train. That night, the Fat Controller came to visit Rebecca. Rebecca, I have heard about your success while pulling trucks today, and I am impressed. Emily showed you the right way, right? Yes, sir, said Rebecca. Well, good. Hopefully you use what you teach her tomorrow, because you have another train to pull. Yes, sir, said Rebecca. And the Fat Controller walked away after wishing the engines a good night. My only advice to you, Rebecca, spoke up James, is to be careful. Sometimes you think you got a grip on the trucks and they'll just try to surprise you, said James. James is right, spoke up Toby. Those trucks will trick you. That's why you always must keep a sharp eye on them. They really do love taking advantage of new engines after all. Come now, said Andy. She will be fine. Emily did show her the right tips to deal with trucks. So, you think you'll be alright, Rebecca? Yes, I will be fine. But Rebecca deep down knew that she had doubts. The next day, when Rebecca rolled into the yard, all the cars were making fun of her. Scruffy, a privately owned wagon, made fun of her. Well, what is this? A banana has strayed onto the rails. Hee hee hee, laughed all the trucks. Rebecca didn't think this was funny at all. Oh, alright, you trucks. Come on now. We don't have time for this, said Rebecca. She soon set to work on arranging her train. Soon, Rebecca's train was all assembled and she backed onto it. Soon, she tried to move her train, but the trucks were holding back. You can't pull us, laughed the trucks. But soon, surely but surely, Rebecca soon edged her train out the yard. Soon, Rebecca was moving down the line with her train. Everything seemed like it was going well, but then, that's when the trucks decided to start their mischief. As soon as they reached the tunnel, the train started to slow down. The cars applied their brakes, but Rebecca still surged on. When Rebecca passed through the station, the other engines saw that she was having difficulty. All they could do was just sit there and feel sorry for her. Soon, Rebecca reached the bridge, but she was too distracted to remember what Emily said. Emily told her to get a running start at the hill, but she sadly forgot to do that, and soon trouble would begin. As soon as she reached the top of the hill, it happened. "Hold back! Hold back!" said Scruffy. And the trucks were all giggling and holding back on Rebecca. "Oh, please stop. Stop it, you trucks. This is not nice at all." And soon it happened. The third truck broke off and rolled down the hill. On, faster, faster," cried the trucks. "Oh no, this isn't going to be very good," said Rebecca. The other half of Rebecca's train slid at the bottom of the hill and crashed onto the middle of the track. "Oh no, driver, we need to call for help," said Rebecca. But in the distance, Rebecca could hear Edward's whistle. "Oh no, I hope he doesn't run into my train." Edward had saw the accident, and he stopped just in time. "Oh my, what happened here?" exclaimed Edward. Rebecca, who rode down the hill, explained what happened. "Sorry, Edward, I lost control of the trucks. I'm sorry for delaying you." "Oh, it's quite all right. It is an accident," said Edward. Shortly after the accident was cleaned up, Edward arrived in the yard next to Rebecca. "So, what happened with your train, Rebecca?" asked Edward. I lost control, Edward. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I ended up messing up. I didn't have control over the trucks, and look where it cost me." "Oh, don't be like that, Rebecca. It happens to the best of us. Some of us got in way worse accidents than you did." "Really?" said Rebecca. "Yes, indeed. But we always overcome because the mistakes that we make help us become better engines and helps us to make better decisions in the end. So don't let it bother you. Just make sure next time you do what's right, and make sure that you keep steady ground, because the trucks will know when you're not holding steady ground." "You're right, Edward. I need to set this trouble right. Thank you for the advice. That is what I'm here for." The next day, Rebecca had to take a slow goods train, one of the trains that stopped on the many stations of the island of Sodor. Rebecca was ready. She was ready to use everything she was taught about trucks. "Let's hold back," said the trucks to the others. But Rebecca was ready. She soon started with a mighty force. "Ooh, our wheels, our aching wheels! Quiet down, you trucks!" yelled Rebecca with pride, and she soon pulled the train out the station. Throughout the day, Rebecca showed the trucks who was in charge. Whenever they started their trouble, she either gave them a light bump or just surged on. All the trucks could do was complain. Once again, she reached the top of the hill, and she soon began to rush up the hill in a mighty speed, causing the trucks to be stumbled in their stands. "Ooh, our aching wheels! Stop it! Be quiet and just come along," said Rebecca with her commanding voice. They soon rushed down the hill at a mighty speed. Rebecca was pleased with herself. She had finally conquered her fear of pulling trucks. As Rebecca arrived at the docks, Edward and Duckworth were waiting, and they gave her a huge cheer. Well done, Rebecca. You showed the trucks who's in charge, and you conquered your fear. How do you feel? I feel great, Edward. I feel like that I can just do anything now. Well, you did a very good job, Rebecca. Very good job indeed. The trucks may not ever give you trouble again if you keep that up. Well, that's just wishful thinking, replied Duck. I just want to say, conquer my fears. I am grateful for what everybody has done for me since I arrived. My pleasure. On this railway, we are all one big family. We do our best to help each other, no matter what situation. Thank you, Edward. And with that, with a toot of her whistle, Rebecca Sue had left the docks to go have a rest. So now Rebecca is one of the main mixed traffic engines on the main line. People call her Brave Rebecca or Righteous Rebecca due to what she did with the trucks. But I just think she needed to overcome her fears. What do you think? The end.